First thing that I found very odd about, this Christian conservative company is they rented 2 stripper vans to take us out to the city. Once we got down to the bars in Arizona, they started getting us drunk.
Turning Point USA and closeted gay males. Tyler Boyer, Mikey McCoy, a lot of the Turning Point male staff, they're gay.
That's what Turning Point USA is about. And that's what I wanted to do.
A former Turning Point USA employee just dropped a video that is shaking up this entire situation, and people are paying attention fast. The clip started spreading across platforms like X and TikTok, and now it is pulling in reactions from all sides, not just supporters or critics. Matthew Cohn did not just share footage from an after-party tied to a Turning Point event. He also made a series of allegations about what he claims happens behind the scenes. Now, to keep this clear and fair, these are allegations that have not been confirmed, but they are serious enough that people are talking. According to him, once the cameras stop rolling and the public-facing image fades out, the environment shifts in a way that does not match what people usually see online. He also claimed that some individuals inside the organization may be presenting themselves differently in public compared to private life, mentioning names like Tyler Bauer as part of that conversation. Again, these are claims, not proven facts, but the fact they are being said openly is what is fueling the reaction. What is really adding pressure is that more former staff are now stepping forward with their own experiences. They are describing situations that, if accurate, would raise serious concerns about leadership culture and internal accountability. Some of these claims involve inappropriate environments at private events and behavior that would not align with the organization's public messaging, which is why this is getting so much attention right now. At the same time, it is important to note that no official findings or verified reports have confirmed these accusations. Still, the conversation is growing, and with more voices coming forward, people are watching closely to see what comes next. Some of the latest claims take things even further, and this is where the story starts getting really intense. According to multiple whistleblowers, the behavior being described was not just random or reckless actions by a few individuals. They are alleging that certain people may have entered Turning Point USA with their own motives, potentially trying to influence or disrupt things from the inside over time. Now, to be clear and fair, there is no verified evidence proving any kind of organized infiltration, but the fact that this claim is even being discussed is what has people locked in. Some online are even comparing the situation to past tensions involving Candace Owens, saying it raises questions about whether earlier accusations in that circle were misunderstood or misdirected. A big part of this wave comes back to what Matthew Cohn actually showed and said publicly. He posted a short clip from an after-party tied to a Turning Point event, and the visuals alone sparked a lot of debate. In the footage, there appears to be a performer inside a large glass prop, with alcohol present around the crowd and a party-style atmosphere that some viewers felt clashed with the organization's usual messaging. Matthew described the scene in strong terms and questioned whether moments like this line up with the values the group promotes on stage and online. He also pointed out symbolism in the clip that, in his opinion, crossed a line, which only pushed the conversation even further. At the same time, it is important to stress that this clip is being interpreted in different ways depending on who you ask. No official investigation has confirmed wrongdoing, and context around private events can vary a lot. Still, people are asking one big question right now. Where is the consistency, and does the public image match what happens behind closed doors?
Is this the attire for the party tonight?
What's that?
Is this the attire for the party tonight?
Oh, no, there's 12 costumes.
12 costumes, okay.
Are you coming?
I am, sir.
Here, take one of these.
Awesome.
Please promote the party. It
Will
goes
do.
to a good cause. They want a funeral. We are also going to inspire and bring joy and music and laughter. We need to inspire people to be brave.
Matthew Cohn did not back off his claims either. He doubled down and made it clear that the footage he shared was, in his words, real, unedited, and from an event he personally attended. That move alone raised the stakes, because now this was not just speculation floating around online. He was attaching his own name and credibility directly to what people were seeing. Right after After that, more so-called receipts started circulating. Matt shared a screenshot of a text exchange with another attendee, and that person claimed the same event was hosted by James O'Keefe. Now, O'Keefe is already a controversial figure with a long public history of disputes and legal challenges, but he has also remained connected to circles around Turning Point USA events over time. Then things escalated again. A woman named Megan Walsh came forward publicly on X and said she attended what she described as a networking party hosted by O'Keefe during the same event weekend in South Florida. Her account matched key parts of what was already being said, and she did not hold back in how she described the atmosphere, calling it uncomfortable and chaotic, while also mentioning details about how O'Keefe presented himself at the event. Now, to keep this grounded, these are still personal accounts and have not been independently verified through official findings, but the fact that multiple named individuals are describing the same event in similar ways is what is keeping this conversation alive and growing. And this is where leadership decisions start getting pulled into the spotlight. Following the death of Charlie Kirk, Erika Kirk stepped into a major leadership role within the organization. With that position comes the responsibility of deciding who represents the brand publicly. One decision that has people talking is the reported invitation for James O'Keefe to appear at AmFest 2025. Critics question the timing, while others argue that speaker choices can reflect a wide range of perspectives. No official wrongdoing has been established, but the scrutiny around these decisions is definitely building, and people are watching closely to see what comes next. The situation did not stop at just an invitation. There's also footage circulating of James O'Keefe at AmFest actively promoting what he called a Make America Rave Again party. And this is where people really started raising eyebrows, because this event took place just a few months after the death of Charlie Kirk. Now, to stay fair, different people interpret tone and timing differently, but critics are asking a serious question. What does that kind of promotion say about priorities during a moment that many expected to be more reflective or respectful? But that was not even the part that sparked the strongest reactions. At that same AmFest event organized under Turning Point USA, there were reports in circulating clips showing a physical setup that resembled the tent connected to the tragic incident involving Charlie. According to attendees, this installation was positioned in a way where people could walk up and take photos nearby. Take a second and really process why that caught attention. Some people who were there described the setup as unusual or uncomfortable, saying it did not feel like a traditional memorial. Others, however, pushed back and argued it may have been intended as a tribute or symbolic remembrance, even if the execution did not land the same way for everyone.
Turning Point USA and closeted gay males. It's a thing. And I got the scoop. And I'll tell you why. As a former Turning Point employee and somebody who is openly gay, like myself, I'll give you a reason. It's blackmail. Let's talk about it. First of all, the rumors are absolutely true. Tyler Boyer, Mikey McCoy, a lot of the Turning Point male staff. So these conservative organizations will hire these closeted gay men because they have blackmail on them, and that blackmail is leverage for them to do the dirty work.
That contrast in reactions is exactly why this moment is still being debated online. When you combine the presence of a high-energy party promotion with a display tied to a tragic event, people naturally start questioning the overall tone being set. On top of that, O'Keefe himself promoted the party on Facebook with the caption, "Make America Rave Again. Join me for the party of the decade at this year's 2025 TPUSA AmFest." That wording only added more fuel to the conversation, because depending on how you read it, it can come across very differently. Just 3 months after the death of her husband, Charlie Kirk, Erika Kirk was overseeing an event where phrases like "party of the decade" were being used in promotions, and attendees were being encouraged to celebrate and show up in full energy.
Not only that, they induce alcohol, cocaine, drugs, etc. in these conservative movements, okay?
That contrast alone is what has people talking, because for some, the timing feels difficult to reconcile with what they expected during that period. Now, to stay balanced, public figures handle grief in very different ways, and there is no single correct timeline for how events should be organized after a loss. But when you place this moment alongside earlier conversations about branding, leadership shifts, and public messaging, critics say it starts to form a pattern that they cannot ignore. Then, the focus swings back to Matthew Cohn because his claims go far beyond just party footage. Speaking openly on TikTok, Matt, who has shared that he is a gay man, made additional allegations about what he believes is happening internally within Turning Point USA. He named individuals such as Tyler Bauer and Mikey McCoy while describing what he claims is a hidden dynamic inside the organization. Now, it is extremely important to keep this responsible and clear. These are allegations that have not been independently verified, and naming individuals does not equal proof of wrongdoing. Still, the claims themselves are what is driving intense discussion online. Matt went even further, describing what he alleges is a broader pattern involving social environments where people may feel pressured or exposed, potentially creating situations that could be misused for influence or control. That is a serious claim, and again, it remains unproven, but it is part of why this story keeps gaining traction. Another former staff member, Joshua Peterson, also came forward publicly to share his own experience. He described recruitment environments that, in his view, felt more like nightlife outings than professional onboarding, mentioning group trips and party settings that he believed did not align with the organization's public image.
My name is Joshua Peterson. I'm a former representative for Turning Point USA, and I have a story to tell about when I was at training. We were going to be going out with our former representatives that had shown up from previous years and had been at training in previous years, and they were going to be the ones that were going to show us around the city. So I get paired up with these two specific people who I cannot name currently, but they take us out, and the first thing that I found very odd about, this Christian conservative company is they rented two stripper vans to take us out to the city. No strippers, but it was like there were stripper poles inside the vans. Very odd, very unlike, their values, but okay. And then once we got down to the bars in Arizona, they started getting us drunk. The former reps were. And then they started singling out people, and they would pull them out one by one to go outside and smoke like a cigarette. Now, when it was finally my turn to go and talk to them, they approached me and they asked me, "Hey, what are your views on Israel?"
At this point, what is unfolding is not a confirmed narrative, but a growing collection of personal accounts, and each new voice is adding more pressure for clarity, responses, and ultimately verified answers. This is where the story shifts into something way more serious, because it is no longer just about image or branding. It starts brushing up against potential legal concerns. Joshua Peterson claimed that during some of these outings, certain recruits were allegedly encouraged to drink alcohol despite being below the legal age. Now, that is not just a questionable choice or a cultural mismatch. If true, that crosses into territory that could carry real consequences. To keep this clear and responsible, these are still allegations and have not been confirmed by any official investigation, but the nature of the claims is exactly why people are paying close attention. Joshua went even further with his statements, alleging that some senior figures involved in these situations were not just acting irresponsibly, but may have had outside motivations. He described them as individuals who, in his view, entered Turning Point USA with specific intentions. Now, again, there is no verified evidence supporting claims of infiltration, but the fact that this is being said publicly adds another layer of intensity to everything unfolding.
And I just told them, I think Israel's a good country. At the time, I thought so, at least. And they told me, okay, well, what do you think about, Mossad and, Israeli forces? And I was like, they're all right. Yeah. And they were like, what if we told you we're part of it? Israeli groups and forces. And I was like, can you work for Turning Point, right? And they were like, yeah, we do. We've been working for Turning Point for the past 4 or 5 years now. Did not know if they were infiltrating the company by any means, but they were Israeli agents within Turning Point USA, and I knew that there were more as well. And we did end up bringing it up to our administration at Turning Point that this was going on, and they said they would take care of it. And sure enough, nothing was done about it. And that was very disappointing to see, and honestly a huge red flag for a lot of us.
At the same time all of this is surfacing, Erika Kirk appears to be pushing forward with expansion efforts. Reports and posts on X show that physical mail campaigns have been sent out, asking supporters to get involved and back her movement. One recipient even shared images of the materials online, and the reaction was immediate. The front cover features Erika in a gold outfit from her AM Fest stage appearance, a moment that already had people talking because of its dramatic presentation. Inside the pamphlet, there's also a photo of Charlie Kirk appearing to gesture toward Erika. Critics argue that this creates a very specific impression, almost like it's meant to signal a clear endorsement or planned transition. Now, whether that interpretation is fair or not depends on perspective. Supporters may see it as a tribute or continuation, while others question how accurately it reflects documented reality. What is clear is this: the messaging, the timing, and the allegations, all hitting at once, have created a situation where people are no longer just watching casually. They're analyzing every move closely. Before the passing of Charlie Kirk, Erika Kirk was not widely known in conservative political spaces. Her public image was very clear. She presented herself as a traditional wife, focused on family, home life, and staying out of the spotlight while Charlie handled the public-facing role. But the moment Charlie was gone, that image seemed to shift fast. Almost overnight, she stepped into a highly visible leadership position, taking on a central role at Turning Point USA with a level of confidence that immediately caught people's attention. Observers online have pointed out how quickly that transition happened, moving from behind the scenes to front and center in a matter of weeks. Now, to be fair, stepping up during a crisis is not unusual, and some supporters see this as strength and necessity. But critics are asking how that shift aligns with expectations people had based on her earlier public image. When you line up the moments people keep referencing, that is when the conversation really intensifies. There was the widely shared video where she is seen speaking quietly near Charlie's casket, which sparked mixed reactions online. Then a Zoom call where she referred to a memorial event in very grand terms, while also discussing organizational momentum, something some viewers felt came across differently than intended. There were also online claims about a reported shopping trip shortly after the incident involving athletic wear purchases. To be clear, this claim has not been independently verified, but it continues to circulate and raise questions among critics about timing and priorities. Add to that the earlier controversies, the event setups, the party atmosphere debates, the speaker invitations, and the allegations from former employees, and you start to see why people are connecting all of this together. At the same time, it is important to stress that Erika has not publicly addressed many of these specific claims or interpretations. Supporters argue that public figures are not obligated to respond to every online narrative, while critics say the silence is exactly what keeps the speculation growing. Right now, what remains is a mix of documented moments, personal interpretations, and unanswered questions. And that combination is exactly what is keeping this entire situation under a microscope. The official stance right now seems to be simple. These questions do not need answers. And even more than that, some are acting like asking the questions is the real issue, not the actions that caused people to ask in the first place. Now, yes, people keep saying everyone grieves differently, and that is true to a point, but critics are saying that explanation is starting to lose weight when you stack everything together. They argue it does not fully explain moments like a high-energy party being promoted at an event tied to Charlie Kirk's legacy, or event setups that some attendees felt were inappropriate for the tone people expected. It also doesn't explain the reactions people had to discussions around merchandise during a memorial period, or the broader pattern of decisions that have been debated online. These are not just vague impressions anymore. These are specific moments, specific choices, all tied to leadership decisions. And that's why more people are starting to look closer. Week by week, more former staff and attendees are speaking up, more claims are being shared, and more attention is being placed on Turning Point USA than ever before. At the same time, it is important to keep this grounded. These are a mix of confirmed moments, personal interpretations, and unverified allegations. But when all of it is put side by side, people feel like they are seeing a version of events that looks very different from the polished public image. And the same goes for Erika Kirk. Supporters say she stepped up in a difficult moment and is moving things forward. Critics say her decisions raise serious questions about priorities and tone. Right now, what is happening is simple. The spotlight is getting brighter, the questions are getting louder, and the pressure for clear answers is only building. So what do you think is really going on here? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like the video if you made it this far, share it with someone who needs to see this, and do not forget to subscribe so you stay tapped in for what comes next.